In today's episode of Unwritten Rule, we got a two-man show, just Peyton and I. I'm recording today on your Easter weekend. Hope everyone is having a good Easter. We got a little bit of news in the transfer portal. Tony Perkins on campus for the Tigers, and then Zeke Mayo, who looked like a big prime target with some good schools on his list. Doesn't have the Tigers in his Final Four. After that, we'll jump into some quick hits, Ken Sports Shorts, Dirty Birds of the Weekend, hit on Mabor Majak finding a new home, and a fraud rankings filled with teams from the NCAA tournament, especially the Elite Eight and Sweet 16, as we start to find out who's going to fill out this Final Four. You'll already know that by the time you're listening, but we already have two teams in the Final Four, and maybe we'll give some thoughts on that. But before we get to that, the Unwritten Rule is brought to you by Bet Online. The tournament is here. Bet Online is your bracket headquarters for this season with the best bracket contest out there, and odds, lines, and info on every game and every round up until the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices, and even track your bracket real-time all the way through the tournament. Head to the Bet Online today and get in on all the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online. The game starts here, and the Unwritten Rules start here in a second, but we do have two bets for the people, Peyton. And of course, Jack is not with us today. He's traveling back from the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 in Los Angeles, covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. So we don't have a bet from him, but you'll see that maybe on Twitter on Monday after this episode is posted. But Peyton, I'm going to go first here with this one. And this was brought up to me recently, talking about rooting for teams within your own conference. And it's a whole thing. The SEC really pushes it, SEC. And I've worn the hat on the show before. But I got Seton Hall -4 in the NIT. And I think with UConn just steamrolling every team in their path, I really want Dan Hurley to go up there on the mic after they win the national championship next weekend and say, maybe we should have put some more of these Big East schools in here because maybe there would have been better competition. And I think Seton Hall will take advantage of Georgia, who almost lost to Mizzou in the SEC tournament.
Kenny, I agree 100%. Georgia absolutely should have lost to Mizzou in the SEC tournament. It's not a good team. It's just a bad tournament, the NIT this year. So go Pirates. I'm also going to stamp out any conference loyalties here. And you mentioned UConn. I'm going to take UConn here. UConn is 11.5-point favorites against Bama in the Final Four. This Bama team is no good, man. I don't understand how bad that region was to where Bama was somehow the one that won it. UConn has not broken a sweat in this tournament. I mean, they're just the best team. They're head and shoulders above everyone else. I think they get it done. 11.5 over Alabama, I believe.
Well, those are some pretty good bets, and Jack will probably be in attendance for that one. He'll see it for us and maybe talk through it. I'm actually waiting on him to send in this beat right now. It doesn't look like he's going to get it in time, so you'll see that on Twitter. But the Unwritten Rule starts right.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Peyton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to the Unwritten Rule. Today is April 1st, 2024, Monday. Peyton, I can't believe it's already April. I feel like March blew by. I feel like this happens like every couple of years. We'll notice it goes by pretty fast. But we're gonna have a fast show for you as well. Like I said in the intro, no Jack today. Traveling back from Los Angeles, covering the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. With his team that he covers, the Alabama Crimson Tide, advancing to the Final Four. Of course, Peyton has no faith in the Crimson Tide, if you listen to our bets. But looking at Mizzou basketball, though, trying to be on the same level or maybe even closer to where they were back in 2022 and 2023. Looking at some of these guys in the transfer portal right now, we hit on some guys last week, and one of those was Zeke Mayo. And I will start with him real quick. He had a really good list, and we talked about it. If the Tigers are going to make a push at Zeke Mayo, you have to be able to tell him that you're going to be the primary guy. You're going to be the primary ball handler. The offense will run through you. Of course, he did have a lot higher suitors, a lot more prominent suitors on his list, and his Final Four did come down to Creighton, Kansas, Oklahoma and Texas. And Peyton, if I'm not mistaken, you did think that he was going to end up at Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all the buzz. It was always going to be a long shot for Missouri. I mean, everyone in the country is kind of lining up for him. But I mean, it seems like, I mean, I believe he's from Lawrence. So that obviously is a big factor. It sounds like it could be Lawrence or the NBA, from what a lot of people like. He's got a lot of buzz nationally. That just seems kind of to be what people are thinking. That's just the nature of recruiting. You take swings, you're going to miss some.
Yeah, and we've talked about it. You want them to start winning on some of these battles, and especially after some of those misses in the transfer portal last year. Another guy that's really on the Tigers' radar, who the Tigers had on campus, according to Gabe DeArmond at PowerMizzou. He posted this on X on Saturday. Word seems to be getting around now that Iowa grad transfer guard Tony Perkins is visiting Mizzou this weekend. Tigers have been talking about it all day, and you can find all that news on his message board before it's broken anywhere else. But Tony Perkins, 6'4", 205 pounds, senior point guard. That Tigers really need a prominent and experienced point guard to run this offense. What have you liked from Tony Perkins in your research, Peyton?
Yeah, I mean, most people seem to say that he plays more that combo guard. Like, he can't play the point, he can't play the two. I mean, you can have him do whatever. This is a guy that you could bring in, and maybe if you're able to pair another point guard with him, I mean, that's a huge plus. Interesting stuff, like in his breakdown, he kind of is a bit inefficient, has a pretty decent usage rate, but you do look at his assist rate. This is all from Torvik for the record. 25.3. That's exactly what you're kind of looking for. Doesn't turn the ball over very much, has a pretty decent turnover rate. Shooting wise, though, I mean, he shot sub 30 from deep last year. Definitely more of like a mid-range guy. So yeah, this is a guy that you kind of want to come in, probably rein in the usage a little bit, but he can definitely be either guard position for you. And you know what? At the end of the day, he was a starter for a Power 5 team that scored over 14 a game. That's just, Mizzou needs guys right now. This seems like it could be one of them.
Yeah, we talked about it, wanting to have a better class than last year. Same time, I mean, you can do a lot. I mean, it's easier to just improve everything on this roster than last year. Comparing to who would be the starting point guard for the Tigers moving forward is a guy who's a freshman last season who really didn't show much improvement down the stretch, in Anthony Robinson. And hopefully that he kind of breaks out something in his sophomore season. But you need a guy, you need experience. You talk about that 3-point percent drop. He went from 33.3 in the 2022-23 season to 29.9. The one thing I do like to point out is that he almost averaged 2 steals a game this past season, and maybe that's something that Dennis likes as well. We know he's had point guards that can play pretty strong defense back to when he was at Cleveland State, so that's a good thing to note about Tony Perkins. At the moment after he visited this past weekend. Peyton, anything else really on the Mizzou basketball front? It's been a pretty quiet week. We know it's a holiday week with Easter here on Sunday, but is there anything else that's really like coming to your mind? Still nothing new on the AD search front, nothing new women's basketball head coaching. There's nothing really moving right now for the Tigers.
No info on either one of those situations. I realized I had myself muted there. Apologies, podcast listeners, for the awkward pause. And apologies, YouTube viewers, for watching me waffle silently. Yeah, no, there's no new info really on either of those situations. I really doubt we'll get much movement on the women's basketball front until we have more info on the AD search. I mean, and that kind of affects recruiting too. I mean, it's going to be hard or downright impossible for Pinchton to pull anyone into that program right now. So it kind of is setting up to be a lost year. It's really inconvenient timing.
And I know we're not, we're not college coaches. We don't have the experience to talk on this, but when you don't know, you have uncertainty on your future. I mean, you just have to coach and recruit like nothing is wrong. And I think that's where she has to go from there. But we know she's kind of struggled with the development of some of these prime recruits that she's gotten over the last couple of years. And I think you just have to keep moving forward with it. I think at this point, her job is pretty safe. I don't know if they want to can a coach at this point in the year, especially when there is no AD and you're still trying to find that search for the person who's going to be overlooking all these coaches. So that's kind of the latest there. Pretty quiet week from Mizzou athletics. Anything we missed, we'll pick up on Friday. There's a lot of things like to happen on Sunday afternoon, but that's going to be it for the first kind of segment. We're going to move on to quick hits here now. All right, quick hits time. Pretty quick hits this week as we're going out to celebrate Easter with some work. Peyton and I are. We don't get to see our families this weekend, but we hope everyone else does and had a good Easter. And even if you don't celebrate Easter, just a good weekend in general. But Peyton, it was opening weekend in Major League Baseball. Opening day was on Thursday and Friday, depending on who your favorite club was. I thought about doing the last 30 opening day starters for the Cardinals or Royals, because I think we probably have a lot of overlap with Royals and Cardinals fans that might be looking for some Mizzou information on YouTube, wherever they get their podcasts. But I thought it'd be a little bit easier just to go with the 30 opening day starters for 2024. And I was comparing it to the 2023 one before we got on and before we started this, and it's very different. And I'm just telling you that now. So maybe we'll work together, but you're going to be the prime guy. We know you know a lot about baseball as well. And you're going to just fire off some, and then I'll answer some of the other ones if you need any help. But I'm pretty sure we could get all 30 in this 7 minutes.
I think we can too. Let's do it.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. If you're watching on the YouTube, we have been sharing our screen a lot and giving you some more graphics and things to look at besides our beautiful faces. But right now we are a man down, so this is the only thing we'll be screen sharing this week. But we hope to have everything back to normal next episode on Friday. But let's get this Sporkle going now.
All righty. Justin Steele for the Cubs. Nate Eovaldi for the Rangers. You're probably going to have to just put Eovaldi.
Might be Nathaniel.
Yeah, it probably is, but
Eovaldi
will work. Josiah Gray for the Nationals. Apologies for the cough. I am sick. Jose Barrios, I believe, for the Blue Jays. For those that didn't see, Kenny also put in Framber Valdez for the Astros. Garrett Cole's hurt.
Nestor Cortez.
Yeah, Nestor Cortez, yeah. For the Yanks. Milwaukee Brewers, Freddie Peralta.
Fall from grace.
Not how you spell Freddie. There you go. Oh, man. Arizona Diamondbacks, Zach Gallen. Nope, no H.
He's a K.
No, there's a zero. It's just a C. Braves, Fried. What? Max Fried didn't start? Okay, I didn't know that. I thought he would have definitely started.
He's injured.
I thought I saw a clip of him throwing like a strike that was called a ball. But whatever. It wasn't him clearly. Who else is in that? Like Elder's in the minors. I don't know. We'll come back to that. The
Corbin Burns.
Oh yeah, Corbin Burns for the O's. You know the A's? Your A's?
I don't.
Your Kelly Greens? Come on. Miami Marlins, I believe that was Luzardo. Not how it's
LA?
LU. LU. Yes, okay. Los Angeles Dodgers. Wasn't Yoshi. It was Glasnow. Glasnow started for them.
No, it's is it the Glasnow?
I'm pretty sure it was Glasnow.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, it was.
Because I was in Korea.
Oh yeah, good point. I didn't even think of that. Angels, I believe that was Sandoval. Pat Sandoval.
Sandoval.
I know. But I knew you'd be upset. Cole Raggins for the Royals. ANS at the end there.
Oh my God.
RAGANS. NS. There you go.
It got caught. Got caught. We're fine. I feel like we got to get the Cardinals.
It was Michaelis.
It was Michaelis. We'll get to him in a second.
Padres. Cease. Oh, there we go. Strider, duh. Wow, Cease didn't start for them. I know he started a game because he had
Darvish. Oh, it's because it was in Korea.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting about that. Well, now we got that out of the way. Who would have been? Oh, Webb. Logan Webb.
Yep.
For the Giants. Mariners? Was that Kirby? George
Castillo?
Kirby? Oh, yeah, it was Castillo, definitely. Tampa Bay Rays.
Savali?
Oh, really? Yeah, no.
I think he started game 2.
Wasn't Jeffrey Springs. He's dead right now.
Oh, you need to get the Mets one.
It wasn't Severino because he started yesterday.
This guy was a former Cub, so that's why I think you should get it.
Trevor Williams. No, he's a Nat. Okay, well, I know the Reds was Frankie Montes. AS. There you go. White Sox was Garrett Crochet. T. Chet. Yeah. Red Sox was that Bello? Yes. Oh, Colorado was Kyle Freeland. Boy, he got rocked. Tigers, I have no idea. Who started for them?
Tigers was someone who got hurt last year. Former top pick.
Mize?
I believe it was.
Just IZE. No, there's no A. Okay. I know Maeda started yesterday, so it wasn't him. Matt Manning is in the minors. Guardians was Bieber. Oh, we got a minute left. We gotta get it done.
30 left. Teams left on the board: Mets, A's,
Phillies is Wheeler.
Pirates. Yeah, it
Wheeler.
was Wheeler. Pirates, Rays, Tigers still on the board.
Pirates was Mitch Keller.
Was Mitch Keller. You should know the Mets one. Lefty. Played for the Cubs.
Oh, Quintana. Jose Quintana. That's right. Yep. Horrible. God.
Tigers,
Oakland.
A's, Rays left on the board.
I mean, come on with these 3 teams. I mean, it doesn't matter who started for the Rays because, I mean, he was probably pulled. Who else is in that rotation?
Savali. That's why I knew that. He pitched the second game.
But who else is there? I don't know. I think I might be tapped out, Kenny.
Yeah, I didn't memorize.
Because I don't know who that Tigers... Like, we'll know all these names, but I don't know.
All right, we're giving up with 30 seconds to go. Last 3 teams that we didn't get for opening day starters for 2024 were the Tigers, A's, and Rays. That's pretty good. 27 of 30. We got higher than the average score. Tariq Skubal was the Tigers. For the A's is Alex Wood. Yeah. I knew that the Alex Wood one. I knew the
Alex Wood one too. Dang,
I saw a graphic. I just wouldn't have thought about it. Well, that's a Sporkle for this week. That was a pretty fun one.
Better than average. Yeah.
It took a little longer than it probably should have, but we hope you guys were able to have fun if you're watching on the YouTube, probably yelling at the screen if you know any of these guys or any of your favorite teams overlap and you saw a guy and you were like, hey, where is he? But that's it for us this week with the Sporkle. But yeah, we're not doing any fun things with the screen this week, but we'll go right into Dirty Bird. And I mentioned it, Miles Michaelis, the Cardinals starting pitcher, joined by Steven Matz. They were at the Sweet 16 game between Alabama and North Carolina. I just thought this was really funny because, Miles Michaelis, he's just an innings eater, maybe a term not as well known to a lot of Mizzou fans, but in just the baseball world, he just eats innings. That's all he does. And sometimes he doesn't have the best starts, but after an opening day loss to the Dodgers, he and Steven Matz got on the town and enjoyed a nice basketball game. And I can't knock on them. I think it's pretty funny that they went and, they are like, it's their, it's their downtime. They're going to go have fun, but it's just funny to see that after a pretty bad loss.
Yeah, no, and I don't know if you saw this. Pete Alonso did the same thing. He was at a country concert yesterday, I believe. I think I saw a tweet. So I guess it could have been fake. Grain of salt it. But it might have been fake, or like an old clip. But these two definitely were there, and I find that so funny, especially considering the Cardinals fans I follow are psychopaths. They did not take kindly to this.
And it's not like either of them went to the schools. They just were going to enjoy a nice game.
College basketball's fun, man.
In the same house as Jack Knowlton.
Yep. He could have said hello. My dirty bird, and it's really a main bird because good for Mabor. Mabor Majak is a Chanticleer, folks. He is heading down to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. He committed to Coastal Carolina over the weekend, so he gets to stay D1. I know they have a new coach there, Justin Gray. So good for Mabor. I mean, good spot for him. I mean, hopefully he can develop, maybe become a decent player.
Yeah, this was a pretty quick one. I think some people, even you, joke that maybe he was tampered with, but that's
they tampered him in.
They tampered him in, but good to see Mabor finding a new home, especially not going like, okay, it is group of 5, but I mean, you might get some good minutes there, and that's what you kind of want to see for a guy that had his moments at Mizzou in 2 seasons.
Cool.
The dunk was cool. Jack's Dirty Bird of the Week, and I don't necessarily know why this is a Dirty Bird, but DeAndre Golston posting his rookie season numbers on his X account yesterday on Saturday. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists in his final game for Hungary. Pretty good first year for DeAndre Golston. We've talked about him quite a bit playing for the Lions out there in Hungary. I mean, any thoughts from you, Peyton? He tagged CY Young in the post.
Oh, that's nice of him. Yeah, DeAndre Golston was sorely missed this year, believe it or not. I mean, there were moments where I really did not like his style of play last year. But I'm glad to see I am dying here. I'm glad to see he was able to play professionally, find some success. Maybe he'll parlay it into a step up in leagues. Maybe he'll get to go play in, I think China's a step up.
Yeah. If you there's some like good interviews out there with Patrick Beverley, and he played a lot in Europe after he was kicked out of Arkansas, and he was trying to find his way back or find his way to the NBA and get his feet wet. And he talked about, playing in Russia and China and trying to move up the Euro leagues. And it's pretty interesting how they kind of see basketball over there, especially with an American on a team that you're kind of seen as like this high and mighty guy, but some guys on the other teams see you as probably like the biggest villain in the league as well. So it's pretty cool. Best of luck to him, and we'll keep following him. We'll post some updates here. Before we get to fraud rankings, Jack did send me his best beat, Utah versus Indiana State. Peyton, you can talk about this real quick, but Indiana State -2.5.
I believe this is the NIT's Final Four. I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched a second of it, but the Sycamores are on a mission. God, I am dying. A mission to prove that they were right. They rightfully belonged in the NCAA tournament. That's basically all I have. I don't know a thing about Utah. I know more about Larry Blurd and the Sycamores than I know about the Utes.
America's team.
Indeed. Goggles on. So. Oh, wait a minute,
All right,
Kenny.
it's fraud rankings. What time is it?
Oh, one more thing, Kenny. What time is it, Kenny?
One o'clock. Take it away, Peyton.
Coming in at number 5. Number 6 is a bonus. It's going to be my lungs for keeping me coughing. Number 5, though, in the fraud rankings, we got Gonzaga. The Bulldogs somehow made it through very weak competition to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. No chance for them there. They just got absolutely eated. There was no chance they were going to win. They had no answers for the 7'4" menace. Naismith, 2-time player of the year. So the Bulldogs, you're number 5. You're out. Another legacy of failure for Mark Few.
Coming in at number 4, and this is an easy one. I mean, how can you not go against the team that Jack watched get murdered in Los Angeles? And all jokes aside, it was not a murder. UNC made it back home safely, but UNC losing to Alabama in the Sweet 16. How do you lose to a team that doesn't know how to play defense? UNC at number 4 in the fraud rankings.
Horrible game. Coming in at number 3, we got Iowa State. There was no reason they should have lost this game. Why do you let Illinois do that to you? We'll get to Illinois in a minute. But Iowa State, you should that you should never have put UConn in that position.
Coming in at number 3, and I got a song for you, Peyton.
I mean number 2.
Coming in at number 2, and I got a song for you, Peyton. Pulling up the lyrics to Take It Easy by the Eagles, because that's what the Arizona Wildcats will be doing. Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I've got 7 Arizona women on my mind. 4 that want to own me, 2 that want to stone me. One says she's a friend of mine. Arizona out. I think they fell. I mean, they got deeper into the tournament than we thought they would, but Arizona out of the tournament in the Sweet 16. Very unfortunate.
I wouldn't even say that. I had them picked to the Elite 8. But moving on, number 1. ILL. Ill is what Illinois made me when they beat Iowa State. And I'll give them credit in this respect. They hung around with UConn for a half. UConn at 23-23, though, embarked on a not 10, not 20, but a 30-0 run. They were up 53-23 by the time Illinois scored again. Terrence Shannon Jr., your next appearance in a courtroom on a court is going to be in a courtroom. So there you go. Illinois is out. Thank God.
Yeah, you got to be a sick MF if you're rooting for Illinois' downfall. I guess I'm ILL. That was one of the best things we saw this weekend.
Ooh.
That's fraud rankings. Pretty rough fraud rankings by my standards, but we'll get it back together. We'll get it back together once Jack is here and
coughing and wheezing through the whole thing. So
yeah, Peyton is like the penguin from Toy Story. Wheezy,
good guy.
That's where Peyton's at right now. Peyton, quick ratio of the week, and then you can hit your joke before we get out of here on this quick show on Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Our Bayer Leverkusen Lions, unbelievable. I mean, Peyton, I know that you're not the biggest fan of soccer. You're maybe not following as closely as Jack and I are, but 27 matches in the Bundesliga, 23 wins, 4 draws, no losses. The only team without a loss. 73 points in the table. That's 13 ahead of Bayern. Easy road the rest of the way, not having to face Bayern or Dortmund again. Bayer Leverkusen is moving forward, and this is where the ratio of the week comes from. Played Hoffenheim this past week, and Hoffenheim said, unbeaten, you say, And of course, Bayer Leverkusen, after the beating Hoffenheim, said yes, period. That's got 78,000 likes to 295. We love Bayer Leverkusen. We are blessed that they are our soccer team, and cheering for them the rest of the way.
100%. And you know what, Kenny? I still have a joke. This one comes from our favorite.
I'm going to correct myself real quick. Bayer Leverkusen does play Dortmund on April 21st. That is probably the last tough game the rest of the stretch until the May 18th season finale.
The Dortmund darts won't know what hit them. Kenny, here's my joke. What did the earthquake say when it was done? This one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show, by the way.
Seismic. I don't know. I don't know what an earthquake would say. Rumble.
No. Sorry. My fault.
Okay. That's good.
Get it?
Unless there's someone listening that's been affected by an earthquake and you were very rude to bring that back up, Peyton.
I'm sorry. It was just on the Today Show.
Let's blame the Today Show for that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't me. Al Roker wrote it.
Al Roker wrote it. Look up Al Roker, White House, trip to the White House. Always a fun story if you're looking for something, especially when you're eating dinner. Maybe read that to the family on your Monday after Easter, eating those Easter leftovers. Read that story. It's
Or
a good story.
Thanksgiving leftovers.
Thanksgiving.
I still got some in the back of my fridge.
Well, that was a quick show for us here on Monday, April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day. Happy April to everyone. Got a special birthday coming up at the end of the week. Maybe we'll talk about that guy. But for right now, thank you for tuning in to the Unwritten Rule. We are presented by Bet Online. We'll have Jack back on Friday, hopefully. Until then, this has been Peyton and Kenny.